Hey guys, I'm Julie with Nothing is Wasted Designs, and I'm waiting to be shared into the group of Grace Creations. I'm going to be doing a project or a craft that has to do with flying high, that has to do with kites. And I'm going to give just a couple of minutes before they share me into the group, and then we'll get started. I'm watching Shantae with Crafty Creations and More. She's finishing up her kite. Hey Linda, how are you? I'm going to start here in just a minute. I'm waiting to be shared into the group. All right, y'all. This is going to be interesting. Let me see where my brush is. Going to get that started. Hey Jessica, how are you? Come on in. Good job, Shantae. All righty. I'm going to wait for a few people to come on in, and then we'll get started. I'm in the group. Thanks, Jessica. I appreciate it. Y'all, I'm Julie with Nothing is Wasted Designs. Welcome to Grace Creations group event. The theme today is flying high. It has to do with any kind of project or craft with kites. And anyway, I had lots and lots and lots of ideas, and I've watched the other crafters, and it seems to be a consensus that everybody had an idea. Hey, Linda. Everybody had an idea, and then they didn't have an idea, and then they had an idea, and then they're not sure what they were going to do. And I'm going to be honest, I was the same way. I started looking for kite ideas probably about a month ago, and I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. Well, then I started watching some of the other crafters, and a lot of the things that I was going to do, they were doing. So I thought, well, y'all don't need to see one more of the same thing. So I'm going to go a completely different direction, I think. I'm still going to be working with kites, but I'm going to start with painting a background, and then after I paint the background, I think I'm going to be working with a combination of paint and paper. So we'll see how that goes. Y'all come on in. I'm going to paint a light background, kind of like a sky, and I'm going to use a variety of light blues, kind of a medium, a dark, and a light blue. And then I also want to get some white in here, warm white. Let's see where my white is. Maybe this one will work. Cool white. All right, well, we're going to go with this one, y'all, because this is what I have the most available. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off of here. Warm white. I don't know where my white went to, but I've got different kinds of white. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put a little bit of white on here. Actually, a lot of white on here. And then we are going to, let me point y'all down. We're going to get started here. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the background kind of like a sky. I'm hoping it's going to have some clouds in it. This almost looks like a periwinkle. So we're going to just mix these and go across the board. And then I'm going to kind of take, I know everybody's favorite is math, right? Everybody loves math here. Is that right? Oh, this is going to be pretty. All right. Well, anyway, I was a math teacher for many, many years. And so I'm going to go from a mathematical standpoint. And then that way, if any of y'all want to, let me push that back just a little bit. All right, here we go. We're going to just get some paint on this and see where it takes us. I want there to kind of look like there's some clouds going in the sky here. I may have to go over this with some more white later. We will see. And I'm just kind of crisscrossing this just to get it into all the nooks and crannies, trying to have some variations of what we're going to put down on the palette here. And I'm working with a 14 by 18 inch canvas panel. All right, I need to fix this because I either need to come up or move over. Y'all need to see the project more than you need to see the paint. And anyway, so I just want to get a variety of different colors of blue. We're going to get some white in here. And the idea is that I'm going to come back and put some what do you call them? Oh, kites on here. And I'm going to tie today's project in with kites and also with the July 4th theme. So I'm going to kind of kill two birds with one stone, I'm thinking, is kind of my plan. And we'll see where it takes us. So come on in. Hey, Shantae, you did a great job. All of y'all are really doing a nice job with everything. It's fun to watch everybody. If you are not following Grace Creations, hit the follow button so that you'll get the notifications when we go live with our events. It's a great group of ladies or crafters, not all ladies, but crafters. And anyway, you'll want to be notified when we go live. Also, if you will look at the people who are in the group and hit the follow button. If you're not following them, there's a lot of talented crafters that present in this group. And thank you to Grace Creations for having me on here. I appreciate it. I love working with y'all and seeing what everybody's doing. All right, so all I'm doing, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just taking 4 different colors, 3 colors of blue, and one white, and just kind of making sure that I get everything in on the nooks and crannies. I'm after kind of a sky look is my thinking, and we'll see where this goes. So I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to start working on the kites while this is drying. So after I get this all painted and done with the background, then we're going to put this aside and work on the kites. So hoping that this is going to turn out. My intention was, at first, was to, I wanted to work with dowels and make a kite with that. But when I saw so many people decorating their, and I know everybody decorates differently, but when I saw everybody decorating the same kind of kite that I was going to do, I thought, well, I'm going to change this up and just try something different. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I really hadn't planned on doing a whole lot of painting, but since painting is the thing that I'm learning right now, I'm happy to do it. So here we go, right? So does anybody have a favorite memory of something that happened to them with a kite? I can remember when my husband and I were first married, we went to Kill Devil Hills, which is it's always great to have you share. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Harley. I appreciate it. Anyway, when we were first married, long time ago, we bought a kite that was called, I think, a trick kite, stunt kite. It was called a stunt kite. We bought a stunt kite, and down at the Outer Banks there is a a big hill called Jockey's Ridge. It's a big sand dune where the sand is shifted and shifted and shifted. And anyway, it's the thing to do is to climb up to the top, and there's a lot of kite flying that goes there. And there's also a kite store there called Kitty Hawk Kites. And anyway, my husband and I bought a kite, and man, was that fun. It had 2 strings on it, and you could pull the kite to the left or to the right with one, you know, depending upon, this is, oh, I like this, y'all. This is looking good. Anyway, so what you could do is you held the kite with 2 handles. And if you pull it to the right, then the kite would spin in a circle. If you did it right, it would spin in a circle and keep going. And then you would release it and pull it to the left, and it would undo. And I know, they are so much fun. I taught Sunday school for 13 years, and I used to have a kite day once a year. They had so much fun. Oh, I bet they did. Who doesn't love a kite? You don't have to be a kid to love a kite, right? They, but anyway, so I'm going to throw some white in here. And we're going to get the sides, and then like I said, I'm going to put this aside so that I don't have to use the heat tool and make a whole bunch of noise with it, because my heat tool is noisy. All right, so this is what we have, y'all. I just wanted to kind of look like the sky. And I think I got it all. Let me look where I put my brush away. There's a couple of spots here. All right, I want to get just a little bit more white in here. Get some variations of the blues. So, painting is new to me, for those of you that don't know me. I used to be a public school math teacher. I was a math teacher for about 8 years, and then God called me to be a stay-at-home mom. And anyway, after God called me to be a stay-at-home mom, He called me to be a homeschool mom. And anyway, so I said yes to that calling, and that was quite an adventure. We did a lot of fun things with the homeschool community. Okay, let's see what we got. I like this periwinkle color. I'm going to try and get a little bit more of this in here, kind of dispersed in here. And I don't know how these colors are going to go with what I'm going to do, but we're just going to wing it, y'all. Anyway, so public school, mom, homeschool mom, and then what did I do after that? I mean, all of these are lots of years, y'all. And anyway, so God called me to be a crafter about 5 years ago, and everybody tells me that, Harley. I wished I had a nickel for everybody who told me how much they either didn't like math or how bad they were at it. And I had so much fun with those kids. We did a lot of fun things. I was just telling my nephew the other day that one of the things that I did with the kids was I taught junior high, mostly 8th and 9th graders. Algebra's my favorite. I have to say that. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but it is mine. And anyway, so when I was teaching general math, I did a consumer math section. And what I did was I went out to the local stores, and I went to like Wendy's and McDonald's, and I took pictures of their menus, and I went to restaurants and I got menus. And I had the kids, I divided the kids into groups of 3, told them to bring in like potato chips or Cheetos, you know, snacky foods, paper plates, and I think they had water to drink. And so I divided them into groups of 3, and they had to, one of the three was the waiter. The other two were the customers, and they had to learn how to calculate 15% for a tip and different things like that. Of course, you know, they loved it because they got to eat in class. Of course, this was back in the 80s. 80s and 90s, and anyway, I like that. What do y'all think? Does it look like the sky? See if you can see that. So anyway, I did a mental math lesson with them because I wanted them to learn how to take percentages without you know, having to do a whole lot of thinking, and so that was a lot of fun. And I told them, you know, taught them how to work with percentages. And anyway, so at one point I had like an array of index cards, and they were doing seat work, and while they were doing seat work, I would call them up one at a time, and they had to do things like take 10% of this or take half of that, or, you know, just fractions and percentages that we work with on a regular basis. All right, this is watercolor paper, 9 by 12 inches. And anyway, while the kids were working on a worksheet, I called them up one at a time, and they got to pick their own quiz, and they either got 100 or 0 on it. It was a mental math quiz where they had to be able to figure out how to take 10% of a number. And they all did well. They the first go around, about 2/3 of the class all passed with flying colors. So that was a lot of fun. So anyway, I did a lot of stuff like that with them, and it was fun. I loved every minute of it. That's where God had me at the time, and then He called me to be a stay-at-home mom, and I love that. All right, so I'm going to show y'all how to make your own kite, I hope. This is a 9 by 12 inch sheet of paper, which means that it is 3 by 4. All right, and that's going to make a little bit more sense to you when I go along. So I thought, you know, I can sit here and I can decorate and I can do all of this, but y'all are all crafty and y'all are all intelligent, and so I'm going to come from a math perspective. And so I'm going to measure, when I measure this, I'm going to use a T-square. This is one of my favorite tools to use when I'm working with right angles, okay? Kind of like corners in the wall. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm going to assume that I do not know the size of this sheet of paper. And I look at it and I see that it goes up to 12 inches. So I know that it is 12 inches tall. And in my research with looking at diamonds, I saw that there is a 2/3 on the bottom, 1/3 on the top of the diamond. And so I'm going to show you how to do this with a 9 by 12 inch sheet of paper. So when I look at 12 inches, I can divide it into thirds. I can have 3 inches, then 6 inches, then 9 inches, and then 12 inches. And so I want to have, is it 3, 4, 1? Hold on a minute. Let me double check this. Before I say this, I want to make sure that I'm right. 8 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to take, and I'm going to do 4 inches. 4 inches, 4 inches, and 4 inches, 8 inches, and 12 inches. That divides this into thirds. Every 4 inches is going to give me 1/3 of this height. Now, if you're working with a different number, it's going to be different. But if you work with 9 by 12 inch watercolor paper or a 9 by 12 inch paper, this is going to work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to make this T-square just sit flush at the bottom. There's like a little lip down here, and it'll catch the bottom of this. Yes, 4 inches is the thirds. Oh, thanks for that, Amy. I appreciate it. All right, so we've got 4 inches and then 8 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come over here and I am going to mark off, and I'm going to kind of move it over to the side. I'm going to mark off 8 inches from the bottom to 8 inches. And that's going to give me 1 set of 4, a second set of 4, and then the third set of 4 is going to be up at the top. All right? So the next thing that I need to do is I want to divide this in half. Okay, and I'm gonna leave my little mark there, and I see that this is 9 inches, so I am going to half of 9 is 4.5. So I'm going to put a mark at 4.5 on my ruler. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, my T-square, and I'm going to make it so that it slides along the bottom here. And I'm going to slide it over. My mark is right here, and I'm going to slide it over to my mark. So that it's right on there, and I'm going to draw a line down the middle. Okay? So all I've done is divide my paper in half. That's all I've done right now. Now I have this mark over here. Let's see if y'all can see that. See that little tiny mark right here? I've got a little tiny mark there. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my T-square again, and now I'm going to go the opposite direction, and I'm going to slide this. I'm going to slide this over, and I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to draw a line across. Okay, so this is what I have. 2/3 of my paper, 1 set of 4 inches, a second set of 4 inches, and 1 set and 1/3 or 1 set of 4 inches at the top. So 2 sets of 4 inches at the bottom, 1 set of 4 inches at the top. And then I have this divided in half. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I am going to connect this point here with this point here. And then I'm going to get this point here and that point there, and this point here up with the middle, and then this point up with the middle. I'm going to draw those out. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm not going to use the T part of this. I'm just going to take my ruler. And if you don't have one of these T-squares, I highly recommend that you get one, because it really makes life a whole lot easier. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. I'm going to line up this point here and this point here with my ruler. And I'm going to draw a line. And that's the top of my kite. Basically what I did was I divided that square in half. All right, so now we're going to come over here, and I'm going to line up this point at the top with this point on the side. And there we go. And so now what I have is the top of my kite. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this section here down to the middle. So right here to right here. So here we go. I'm going to line this up, turn this around, just get that out of the way. I don't know if any of you know someone who homeschools, but if you do, there is a program, a company called Right Start Mathematics. They have an excellent math program, if any of y'all are looking for one. All right, this point and this point. Okay? And so now what we have is we have our kite. All right, now I want you to see something, because if you notice, there is a square here, and this triangle and this triangle are the same size. And then you have a square here, and this triangle and this triangle are the same size. And then when you look down here, you have a rectangle. And this line right here divides these triangles so that they are the same also. Hey, Berta, how are you? Good to see you. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, where is my... Now, if you are really good with a pair of scissors, then you can just cut this out. I'm going to use this as a template is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put this point here and this point here on my line, and I am going to cut this. All right, I'm going to bring this down. And I'm going to cut that off. And then I have a triangle that is the same size as this one, that you can use for something else if you want to. All right, same thing here. I'm going to take this point here and this point here and line it up on my cutting line. See what we got for time. Ooh, okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to save that for something else. And then the same thing over here. I'm going to take and line this up on my cutting line. Okay, there's the excess. And then we're going to do it one more time. And line this up. So why am I teaching you all this? So that the next time that you want to do something with a kite, you can, okay, so now we have a kite. Just a diamond that's kind of offset with the center there. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to work with some other size kites. So I'm going to make a couple more. All right, I'm going to hang on to this and I'm going to use it as a template. And that's going to go on my, my project. So I'm going to go in here to my 9 by 12 inch watercolor paper. And now what I want to do is I want to divide this in half. And so I'm going to take my T-square and I'm going to come in here. Remember, I'm putting this on the side so that I can slide this up and down. And I'm going to take and I'm going to find, I know this is 12 inches and half of 12 is 6. So I'm going to put a little mark in between the long side of the paper. Now I'm going to take my T-square and I'm going to bring it around to the top and I'm going to slide it over. And I'm going to draw a line. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut this piece of paper in half. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to make two more, actually one more this size, and then I'm going to make some smaller ones. Okay? All right, so now I have a half a sheet of paper. And this is going to measure 9 inches. To divide it into 3 parts, I'm going to divide 3 into 9, and I'm going to get 3 inches. Okay? So I have 9 inches tall. I want to divide this into 3 parts, so I divide 3 into 9, and I'm going to get 3. So I want 2 sets of 3 inches at the bottom, and 1 set of 3 inches at the top. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put a mark right here at the 3-inch mark. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to draw a line across here. Okay? So now I've got 1 set of 3 and 2 sets of 3 at the bottom. 1 set of 3 at the top, 2 sets of 3 inches at the bottom. Now I want to find halfway, just like I did before. So this measures 6 inches, so halfway is going to be 3 inches. So I put my 3 inches there, and then I'm going to take, and now what I have a cross, and I'm going to connect this point with this point with that point, this point with the point at the bottom, and this point with the point at the bottom. And that's going to give me another kite or diamond, but it's going to be a little bit smaller. And so I'm going to just kind of go across here. Okay, and so there we have that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to cut this down. And I haven't decided if I'm going to actually use this as a template or if I'm going to use the decorate it and raise it up off of the canvas. I'm thinking I'm going to raise it up off of the canvas. I just thought that, you know, this is something that not everybody is going to teach, and if anybody wants to learn this, it's a good opportunity to do it. And because y'all all know how to decorate, you know how to put your colors together and stuff like that, and I just thought that the next time you want to make a kite, you can make this out of any kind of material. You can make it out of wood, you can make it out of plastic, you can make it out of paper, you can make it out of vinyl. As long as you know, you want your dimensions to be a dimension that divides by 3. 9, 12, 18. So you want your dimensions to divide by 3. All right, here we go. We're going to cut this one down. All right, and now we have a smaller one. Okay, so we've got 2 different size kites. We've got this one and we've got this one. They're proportional. They have the same proportions. They're just smaller. All right, and then I want to do one more. Let's see what we have with this, because I'm hoping to get some smaller ones in here. All right, this is 9 by 6. 9 can be divided by 3. 6 can be divided by 3. All right, so we're going to take, and the long side is going to be, we're going to divide that number of how high it is by 3, and we're going to use 2 of those measurements. So this is 9 inches long. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So the bottom of our kite needs to be 2 sets of 3, or 2/3. So we're going to take, the top is 1 set of 3, or 3 inches. So I'm going to mark 3 inches. And then I'm going to come across. Oops, hold on a minute. Let's back that bus up. I want to divide this in half. Ding, ding, ding. Sorry. All right, half of 6 is 3. So I'm going to divide, let's see, I want to divide this in half this way, I think. That's going to give me a square. 4.5. That's not going to do what I want it to do. All right, hang on. 6 is 3. Let's cut this one in half this way, okay? Let's do it this, I want to do it this way. 4.5 inches. Let's see what that gets us. Let's do 4.5 this way. This is what I think I want. All right, so that's going to give me, that's going to be too much for y'all. I'm not gonna go that route. 6 is, I think we can do this. All right, let's do this. Let's cut this. I think y'all can do this. I believe in y'all. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take and make a smaller one. And this is going to be the last size that we're going to make. I'm going to, this is 6 inches 3 goes into 6 2 times. So I'm going to come down from the top 2 inches, and that's going to be my 1/3 mark, and then the bottom will be the same. And then I'm going to draw a line, okay? So there, we're going to go this route. Now what we need to do is we need to find what is halfway. So 4 1/2, half of 4 is 2, half of a half is a 1/4. So we're going to do 2 1/4 in the middle here. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we're going to take and we're going to connect our points. Okay, and now what we have is we have another kite, but it is smaller. And then we're going to cut this. See how we're doing on time, 8:30. All right, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put this line on my cutting line. And I'm going to turn it and cut it. Just lining it up on that cutting line. All right, so now we have 3 different sizes of kites. Let me show you. Okay, we've got this size, we've got this size, and we have this size. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to decorate these 3 sizes because I don't have time to do, I'd like to do one more smaller size, but I don't think that I'm going to have time to do that much. All right, so let's put these on here and see how we want to arrange these. And I'm thinking maybe like this. I think I might do that. All right, I want to leave some space down here for the word freedom. And I want to make sure that everything is on the board. So we might come down here and then maybe we'll come over top of this. All right, so my thinking is that these are going to be raised, but this one is going to actually be, where's my pencil? What did I just do with my pencil? I just had it. Huh. All right, y'all, how did I lose my pencil? Well, I got another pencil. Oh, here it is. I put it in here. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this, I'm going to put these on here. And I'm going to use this as a template and just trace around this. Make sure it's... Now, if you already have a template, then you can just go for it however you want to do that. But I didn't have one, and so I made my own. Okay, so this is what we have. So all we've done is draw this onto the bottom of onto our board. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I don't always paint a straight line as well as I'd like to. So I'm going to use a little bit of tape here. I'm going to put this on the outside of the line so that I can cover over the line that I just drew on here. I'm leaving the pencil mark exposed so that I can go up to that. All right, the other thing that I need to do is I need to take and I need to connect this line with that line. Because I want to come across here. Okay? We don't have to do everything in our head. All I'm going to do is so that I can know where I want to paint. All right, so I'm going to take and originally I actually did a little bit of a test while I was offline to see how things were going to go, and I thought I could put stripes on a piece of paper and the tape that I used for the paper. So I thought, okay, now what I have to change this up and decide how I'm going to do this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put stripes down here, and the way I'm going to put stripes down here is I'm going to take some tape again, and I guess we'll start in the middle. All right, bye, honey. Good luck working tonight.
Thanks. See you later.
Okay, I'm going to just put that in the middle. Get my scissors. Take advantage of the tricks of the trade, right? All right, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to go ahead and now I could wing it. I could wing it and just paint these, but I'm going to be a little bit more precise. I'm going to bring that one in half there. And I'm going to do one more in half here. I just felt like I wanted to bring a different element for y'all to learn something different tonight, and I hope that that this is helpful for you. You know what? Can anybody figure out what I've done wrong? Can anybody figure out what I've done wrong? Why am I pulling this up? Can anybody tell me? Because this needs to have a white background so that when I paint the red stripes, so there you go. I'm going to paint this white. And then I'm going to do the blue stripes, the red stripes on top of the white paint. Hadn't thought about that until I started putting it on there. Because when I did the stripes earlier, I was working with white paper. And I'm just going to put a little bit of paint in here. Now, you will be less likely to get bleeding if you go from your tape into your design as opposed to pushing it underneath the tape. Okay, I need this to be white so that when I tape this, And I can't do the back side until I get this done. So I don't know how many of these we're gonna get done today, but I think y'all will get the idea. I know y'all know how to decorate. I'm not worried about that. All right, let's dry this, and then we're gonna put the tape on there again. Y'all understand why I took the tape up? Okay, I need to do just a quick another coat because this is still kind of shining through. Just to give it a second coat. Still looking a little blue, so that's why I'm putting a second coat on here. Now, if you want, you can, I mean, y'all know this, I don't have to tell you this. If y'all want to, you don't have to raise any of these kites. You can have them all flat. I just thought that it would look a little bit more fun by having them raised. So I'm doing the big one flat. And then the other two are going to be a little bit raised. Now, if I missed any of y'all's comments, I will go back after I get offline. Please make sure and watch Tammy from Crafty Creations and More. She's going to follow me at 9 o'clock. And then Christy's Crafty Cottage is going to follow her at 10. So we're kind of like the night crew. I salute all of you who are morning people. I would not be a morning person. All right, let's try this again. All right, here we go. I'm going to go down the middle. And then I'm going to kind of divide this in half. Sometimes I find that the easiest way to divide things is to divide it in half and then divide it in half again. So I'm going to go from here to here and divide this about in half. Just kind of eyeballing it. It's a little bit off. Let me lift that back up. I think I want it there. Okay. And then we're going to go in half again. And I'm going to divide this side in half. I found this skinny tape, I think at Walmart. It's a little bit off. Let me try this. About right there. And then I'm going to show y'all another trick that I found. All right, so now I'm going to take and I'm going to put this one in half. And I found that it makes a big difference. And then I'm going to do this one in half. And I'm going to just keep dividing these in half. Now, what I could have done is I could have taken the one of these and just put a spacer in between, but I chose to do it this way. No special reason why. All right. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. take this tape, find the end of it. There it is. Gonna find halfway. About right there. And then I'm gonna go halfway between here. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to sit and measure, and if they do, they're not your people. All right, and then we're going to go halfway here. Halfway here. Here, and I'm going to move this one over just a little bit. I'm going to do halfway here. How are we doing on time? Ooh, boy, time. I'm only going to get this one done, it looks like. And I'll have to finish it offline. And then that one there. I want to fix this. I'm going to move this one over just a little bit. All right, now, quick trick I'm going to show you. I showed the those people that follow my page this. And if you're not following my page, I'd love for you to do that. All right, let's see here. Just to kind of even these out a little bit more. This one looks like it can come over just a smidgen. And then we'll do this one right here. Okay, I think that's going to be good. All right, so now what I'm going to do, all right, this is what we have for the stripes for down at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take, did I throw my thing away? I did. All right, I'll get another one. I want to take, I'm going to put a little bit of white paint on here. And I'm going to go over all of these stripes with white paint. And what this is going to do is this is going to seal so that I don't get any bleeding underneath this tape. Okay? It's going to seal that tape. Whatever color your background is the color that you want to use as the sealer. Because if any paint goes underneath the tape right now, it's going to be the same color as the background, and you're not going to be able to see it. Okay, just making sure that if anything's going to seep underneath there, it's the color of the background. And then this way, I will get sharper stripes. Just going all along there. Okay. All right, let's dry it. It looks like I'm not going to get very far. See how we're doing for time. I got 8 minutes. Again, y'all are in Grace Creations, the wonderful group of crafters. If you're not following the page, please hit the follow button. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our red and we're going to go over top of what we just painted. We're going to paint this with red. Let me get, what brush do I want to use? I'm going to use this one here. Okay, I want to use a big brush. All right, this is dry. So now I'm going to just go over this. Got it all taped up. It should be good by the time we pull this up. Again, I like to go off the edge into the middle of my design. Probably could have used a deeper red. Now, if you want a deeper red, you can add a little bit of green to it and it'll darken it. Or you can add a little bit of black to it and it'll darken it. Okay, I'm trying to make sure I stay on the tape. Try not to get a whole lot of brush strokes if I can get away with it. The taping part is what's going to take about the longest. Now, after you have made these templates, hang on to them. Don't throw them away. If you have a place where you can store them, make a file, kites, you know, whatever it is that that you want to keep. All right, here we go. I'm going to put that off to the side. Now I'm going to lift up. I'm going to dry this before I lift it, and then we'll see how we did. I really appreciate y'all being here. Be sure after I'm finished that you refresh your page. All right, here we go, y'all. Looks like I went off over there, but that's okay. That's going to be a cloud. All right, so there we go. So that's what we have for this bottom portion of this. Okay? See how that turned out? All right, so now I'm going to just keep working until I've got just a few more minutes. All right, I'm going to tape this up here. And I'm going to tape this, I'm going to do this in blue because I want to put stars up here. I'm going to go ahead and cover this. I'm going to do the outside so that I can get the pencil mark. We don't want to see the pencil mark. And I got one little spot here. Okay, going to take my white again, and I'm going to go over this section here because I don't want white. I want blue. Duh. All right, hang on. I want blue here. Oh, I hit the wrong, whoops. I'm trying to hurry. Trying to hurry. All right, we'll use this one. All right, we're going to get a dark blue because we want the background to be blue. Ultramarine, we're going to use this one just because it's what I have in my hand. All right, we're going to do this in blue, dark blue. Going into the center. And it's okay if it's a mixture. It's going to give it a little bit of, all right, I'm going to hold this. I want it loose. I got 2 minutes. Let me get just a little bit more blue on here. Second coat. 2 minutes. I want to at least get the stars and stripes on here, and then I will post this on my group. I will, if anybody is interested, you can go. I'm gonna probably go online after today and try and finish this. But you can check out my page to see how it finishes. But be sure and refresh your page so that you can watch the classes that are following. Tammy's coming up at 9 o'clock. All right, I've got real fast. I'm going to take these stars. Put these on here. I want to at least get this on here for y'all. Here we go. Let me put this in my water. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to put this in my water. Oops, I forgot to take the tape up. Oh well, here we go. And there is one of the kites that we're going to do for this project. Okay? So, just a quick way to make your own kites. You can do that. You want to work with numbers that can be divided by 3, 2/3 and 1/3, and then you're set. All right, so there we go, y'all. That's all I got for you. I'll have to finish this up on my page, and that way you can go check it out later. But be sure and refresh your page so that you can see Tammy. She's up now. Y'all have a great night. I love you, and Jesus loves you more. Talk to you later. Bye.